friends. So this is Professor Gyanendra Tiwari from ABES Engineering College. So today I'm going to discuss a very simple, still very effective Hackerrank problem called Handshake. So let's begin. Yeah, so this is a small disclaimer notice. Okay, so what's the problem? The problem says at an annual meeting of Board of Directors of Akeme Inc., if everybody is shaking hand with everybody else exactly once, right? Then how many total handshakes will happen, right? So there's an example. What it's saying that let's say there are three attendees. Let's say P1, P2, and P3. Let's say there are three attendees. So it's saying, let's say P1 is shaking hand with P2 and P3, right? So let's say P1 is shaking hand with P2 and P3. And then P2 shakes hand with P3, P2 also shakes hand with P3, and now that's all, right? So that's total, everybody has shaken hand with everyone else, right? So in total, we have, in this particular case, three handshakes, right? So it may seems to you that as many people will be there, that many handshakes may be, right? Okay, but that's not the case. You can relate this problem with a standard graph problem where we say that, let's say, if you consider everybody to be as one node in a graph, that has to be an undirected graph. Why I'm saying undirected? Because let's say if Mr. X is shaking hand with Mr. Y, that means what? Mr. Y has also shaken hand with Mr. X, right? So there's no question of direction. It's not that if X has shaken hand with Y, it's not Y has shaken hand with X. It's not the case. So it has to be an undirected graph. So basically the problem reduces to a problem where everybody is, let's say, a node in a graph, then, and we have to make a completely connected graph, then total how many edges will be there, right? This is the standard problem. Now you can pause the video and think on this line, and then you can continue with this video, right? Okay, so if you have thought it, so this is the input format. Hackerrank is saying that we have to, take the first line will be total number of test cases. Let's say if there are two test cases, so first line will be containing two, right? Second, and after that, each of the following lines will contain just an integer which will represent the total number of attendees of that meeting. Let's say if we have two test cases, and let's say there are 5 people in the first meeting and 7 people in the second meeting, so this will be the input, right? So where 2 is the total number of test cases, 5 is the total number of people in first meeting maybe, and 7 is the total number of people or attendees in the second meeting, right? Make sense? Okay, so this is how input will be there. And Hackerrank is also saying how we should print the output. In output, we have to return just one integer, right? And that will be the total number of handshakes, right? So like in previous example, there were 3 handshakes, right? So we have to just return that 3. That's it. So simple, right? Okay. Now, so let's think on if you do not like graphs, if you if you have not studied data structures and you don't like it, maybe, so you can think of it as a different approach as well. How you can think it? So let's say there are n people in the meeting, right? And let's say this is first person, you are the person, and there are n other person in the meeting, right? So there are n other person in the meeting, maybe, I don't know, n number of people, right? So n number of people. So except you, how many remaining people will be there? Obviously n minus 1, right? You are the one, and then remaining n minus 1. So how many handshakes you have to do? Obviously n minus 1, right? Once with everyone, right? And so as everyone else, right? Everyone has to do handshakes with everyone else. So can we say the total number of handshakes will be n into n minus 1, right? Everybody, each n people will be doing n minus 1 handshakes. And then we can think that if I have shaken hand with this person do not need to shake hand with me again, because in question it is saying exactly one handshake. So the same concept which I have discussed with undirected graph, right? So X is shaking hand with Y, so Y is also has second hand with X. So we just have to divide this quantity n into n minus 1 by 2. By 2 why? Can you think? Yes, by 2, because if X has shaken hand, let's say if every n people have shaken hand with n minus 1 other people, so the total number of handshakes will be twice. Everybody have done 2 handshakes in that case, and we just want single handshake, the total number of single handshake. So we will just divide this entire quantity by 2, and that's it. That's all. And this is the answer for the graph concept as well, right? So if you have studied graph, you must have studied this, that in an undirected graph the problem goes like this. In an undirected graph with n number of vertices, right, total number of edges to make it completely connected is the same, n into n minus 1 by 2, right? So I hope it makes sense to you. Okay, so now let's move to the platform. Okay, so now let's move to the platform. So here, this is the Hackerrank platform. I hope most of you have visited this before as well. So this is the problem, the same problem we have discussed. The constraints are, you can see, the total number of test cases will be somewhere between 1 to 1000, and the total number of people in every meeting could be 10 to the power 6. So it's huge. But don't worry, we are just going to solve it in constant amount of time. So this constraint doesn't matter at all, right? So let's go to coding part. We have selected, you can select any language. We have selected Python 3, and we have to complete this function called handshake. And if you see here, what we are getting the number n as an input, right? So n is an input here, and what we have to do, so n is representing total number of people in the party, right, in the meeting maybe. So we just have to do just a single line simple code, a return, right? And what we have to return, we have to return n multiplied by n minus 1, and the entire quantity divided by 2, right? So the integer division by 2, you might be knowing it is the integer division in Python. So let's run our code. Okay, so it passed all the sample test cases. Now let's submit it. And wow, so it passed all the test cases as well. So I hope I made it clear to you and you understood how to solve this problem. Thank you. So we'll meet again with the next problem. Thank you.